Hi everyone and welcome back to Saving Christmas series. In this episode we're continuing with our boss battle and now introducing the concept of wind and snow to our boss fight. The idea being is that the wind adds an added extra layer of complications for the player, as it will try and push them off the ledge, changing direction throughout the fight. So first thing we're going to do here is create the particle system for our snow. So I'm going to go to add new particle system, and we call this snowfall, and underscore PS, and open this up. Now to set it up we need to go to required and change the default material here to our frost patch map that we use for frost patches for the icicles. Now that's got the art on it, but it doesn't look very much like snow. So we're going to go to the velocity, and we're going to change the velocity to a particle parameter. The reason why I'm doing a particle parameter is because we're going to make it so it changes direction based on what the bad guy wants it to do. So parameter name here, we're going to go and call it wind direction. And we've got two types of inputs and outputs. So you've got min input and max out input, and min output max output. So the input is your normalized value. Okay, so this would be what the developer will type in to set up a value. So 1 being full speed, 0 being no speed in this case. Output is the actual figure itself that gets outputted. So for example, I'm going to put in X to be a maximum output of 1 and Y to have a maximum output of 1. Z is not going to change at all, so I'm going to leave that as a maximum output of 0. Then my min output and max output are going to be the actual values I want it to change. So for example, let's do the Z so we get falling. So the minimum output for this will do a negative 150. No, do my negative 15. Let's see how that looks. No, a bit too crap. Let's do minus 150. And then do Z of minus 500. So do a random value between the two. Not random, but a value set by our Z here. Now the lifetime of this, the max output and max output for Y is going to be 1000 and 1000. The min output is going to be 0 and Y is going to be 0. Okay. So next we're going to do is change its lifetime to last about, I don't know, 10 seconds. So it lasts quite a long time. Might stay in the world for quite a while. Then we're going to change its location, because that might just go straight down in one line. So I'm going to go down here and add initial location. Initial location is a module which allows us to change the location of the starting point for our snow. I do plan on, by the way, doing a full video on particle systems down the line. I'm just not going to go through it, every single thing here. It will take too long. So we'll do a whole system series on that down the road. So initial location X and Y is going to change. So I'm going to do 13. Let's do 1500. 15. No, let's do 2000. 2000 and 2000. Minimum is minus 2000. Minus 2000. And we've got something that's looking a bit like snow. Okay. There's other things you can do on it. You can add little spirals to it. So you can go into like orbit, for example, and you can tell it to sort of twinkle down if you wish. You can change the offset amount for this, so forth. So I can go 10, so it's a bit more subtle. Yeah, that's quite nice. We'll leave it as that. So if I were to just drag this into the world, we'll just have snow into our world. And just now it's on the floor, so what we do here, to make it easier to place it, I go into required and change the emitter origin in the Z to be let's say 1000 in the air. It'll now spawn them up top. So now in the fight we've got this snowfall. Okay. So now we've got the snowfall. Next is do the blizzard part. Okay. Now to do that, we're actually going to get rid of the particle system we just added into the world, because we're going to put it onto an actor. So add a new blueprint class and choose actor. And it's going to be called, let's call it blizzard. And open up the blizzard. So this thing's going to require a particle system. And the particle system is going to be our snow. Like so. And go to the event graph. So the event graph for this is going to control the particle system and which way it's blowing, and also the movement of the player. So let's just get the particle system blowing in a certain direction first of all. So I'm just going to do it on begin play for now. This will change. And on begin play, we're going to drag our particle system component out and then set vector parameter. And we're going to put the name that we used earlier. So this is going to be called wind direction. Now if I change the x in this to 1 and leave the others at 0, that means that the wind direction for this will make the things fly in the x coordinate. Push play. And I've got to put it into the world. Place it into the world. Play. And you can see it all flying off in that direction. Okay. Now, obviously, I want it to go a bit more in the Z. Okay. So let's do that as well. Ooh. Let's go into snowfall and go to velocity. So the Z here, we can actually make it fall a bit faster here. So the minimum output for this, we can do -500 and make it drop a lot faster. Now that should allow us to have the snow falling and going in a certain direction, like it is there. Okay. Cool. If you want, you can increase that as well. And what we could do here is minimum output of -500, maximum output of -1000. Okay. So, and what that means is then we can go, oh, sorry, max input here to 1. And then on our blizzard actor, we type in the Z value of 1. So now, when it changes wind direction, it'll be a proper blizzard and come flying down and going to a certain direction. Okay. But maybe you want a bit more than that. Okay, so that's it falling down. But let's go back to our snowfall. In here, we're going to add or duplicate this actually. So we're going to duplicate this. So duplicate emitter. And let's see what this looks like. So I'm going to change the emitter origin to just do 50. So it's a lot more shallower. Okay, so it starts a bit lower. And in there, I'm going to actually let's just see what this looks like first of all. At the moment, it's exactly the same, so it'll just spawn in with that wind direction affecting it. Okay, it's not too bad, but let's tweak that a little bit. So on my initial velocity, I'm going to make it go a lot more horizontal. So if I change the Z value of this from -500 to from -1000 to, let's say, let's do -50 and -200. Okay, we got a lot slow snowfall at the bottom, but it goes more horizontal across the field. So it looks like snow is being blown across the field. It gives a nice illusion to the snow. And it makes it clear to the player which way the wind is going. Okay. So now we've got that, let's get working on actually moving the player character. So first of all, I'm just going to change Frosty to be in his idle pose. So basically I'm not going to do anything. Begin play. And we're then going to go into Blizzard. And we're going to do a tick event. And on the tick, we're going to add movement. Oh, sorry, I have to get the player character first of all. Get player character. And add movement input. And the movement of this is going to match the wind we've got here. So I can go into type 1 into the X there, and I'm now going to increase the scale value of this to 1.1. So it's got a bit of strength to this. The scale value will be how much force you want the wind to have on the player's movement. So this is going to be continuing adding movement to the player character as they're in the world. So if I just don't touch nothing, it will go flying off the level. Okay. Oh, so what I want to do now is change it so he we're going to turn down the scale value a bit. We'll do 0.9. So we can still fight the wind a little bit. Maybe a bit more. Basically, you just want the player to really struggle against the wind. So let's go 0.5. Okay, so they're in the wind. It's now faster for me to run this way than it is this way. And it's constantly pushing Santa off the map. Okay, so that's the wind working, but now we're going to get so it switches direction. So on the blizzard here, we're going to make a new variable for wind direction, and that's going to be a vector. Compile, and the default's going to be 0, 0, 0. On begin play, we want wind direction to be the thing we plug into this. So wind direction, we're going to drag into here and click compile. Then on event tick, we're going to use the wind direction to add movement input. Okay, so get wind direction out, get, and we're going to plug that into wind direction. Now if it's 0, 0, 0, it's not going to add any movement to this. Also I forgot to do is add that Z value to this. So I'm going to go wind direction, add vector, and add 1 to the Z. There you go. So now it is pretty much a steady snowfall. Ooh. Okay, and so what we need to do is to change that wind direction over a certain amount of time. So let's just do a custom event here, and we call this one change wind direction, and we'll make this have an input because we may want to use the input for that, and we'll go vector. And we're then going to just simply drag your wind direction. Actually, we don't need to do an event. We can leave it like that. Oh no, we do need. No, we do need. Pardon me. Change wind. Okay. So, but we don't need to do the vector input. We can leave it as is. So after that time, we're going to tell this wind direction to change. So set wind direction. And what we're going to do is tell it to grab the wind direction out, get, and what we're going to do is set the wind direction to be a random I have to get it, sorry, getting all twisted here. So we can get wind direction, we'll come out there and do a make vector, and these are going to be random values in X and Y. Okay, so Z is going to be 1. Okay, we can leave Z actually alone at 0 because that's going to be up there. So X and Y one's going to be randomized. So go random float random float, sorry. Random float in range, and we'll tell this thing go between 0 and 1, and not random float, but random int. Sorry, random int in range between 0 and 1, and that'll go into there. And we'll do the same for Y, and Z we're going to leave at 0. So that's the event done. we're then going to tell this on begin play to set a timer by event. And the event is this change wind direction. So connect those up. And it's going to change direction every, I don't know, 5 seconds. I'm going to set the loop. So every 5 seconds, it's going to change the wind direction. Let's actually give it a moment of breathing space between it pushing the player and give it a delay here. So I'm going to do delay. Oh, sorry. Set wind direction. Set back to 0. And then delay it. And we'll delay it by, let's say, 2 seconds. And I'm going to increase my timer here to 7 then. So the wind's blowing for 5 seconds and there's 2 second gap of breathing space. So now if I push play, snow falls quietly, then it should randomize into pushing the player. Okay, so it's pushing me, but it's not updating the particle system. It's pushing me that way now. Okay, so why is the particle system not working? Let's have a look. So, oh, we've got to tell it to set this thing elsewhere. So we'll copy that and put that up here. Cool. And that will update the particle system then. So after that time, wind will randomly change to a different direction, like so, trying to blow the player off the map. And if you're doing this and you feel 0.5 is too little, that's fine. Okay, we just also need to take it to calm down, just noticed, because it's only doing this at the end, so after it's set a new one. So if I also put that in this gap here, so just going to copy this, paste that, like so. And the parameter is wind direction. Just notice that should be on that side. There we go. So now hopefully it will act quite slow before changing the wind direction, and then after 5 seconds we'll stop and calm down. That's quite nice, yeah. And then randomize which way he wants to blow the player character. Okay, so at the moment it's randomizing over this direction, and I just realized, I know why, is that these values are going between 0 and 1. We actually want them to go between -1 and -1. There. Okay, let's try that out. So there it goes, blowing me down this way. It settles. Okay, I'm just going to see if it blows off this side. There you go. It's blown off that side now. Okay. Cool. Okay, so what else I'm going to do is, rather than use ints, let's use floats. That way we get full 360 possible options for the wind. So I'm going to go random float in range. Again for -1. Oh. To 1. And copy and paste that to 1. Let's see how this looks. It doesn't look that great. We'll go back to using integers. Okay, so it's doing it, but obviously because it's a float, it's not going to be as strong. Let's change it back to integers. At least then we've got the consistent strength. Yeah, I'm just going to undo. Cool. Okay, so that's the wind done. So what we do is, in the next episode, set up all the things left for Frosty, so that at various intervals where we want the wind to change and when we want him to spawn goblins and when he goes into various phases, that will be set up for the actual gameplay itself, including its health and health bar. So join us in the next episode where we wrap up Frosty and finish this boss fight. Thanks everyone, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.